What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. You guys can see the title, and I'm sure if you guys are following Twitter, it is reported by Elliot Friedman that the Toronto Maple Leafs are pretty close to extending Wayne Simmonds, trying to sign him probably to another one-year contract. So I was going to pull up the tweet, but it basically just said that nothing is 100% done, but it's basically all signs are pointing towards Wayne Simmonds being a Toronto Maple Leaf again next season. Now, before we get any further, I'd just like to say again, thank you guys for all the support, but I would just like to say there's a ton of people that watch these videos that aren't subscribed. Liking this video and subscribing would mean a ton to me. If you want to check out some of my other videos and if you enjoy this video, liking and subscribing would help a ton, or just sharing the video. So thank you guys so much. But let's just get into the conversation on Wayne Simmonds. So I think a lot of people, including myself, were pretty excited about Wayne coming to Toronto. Everything he was saying was that he was 100% healthy. And I'm checking my Twitter just to see. Okay, I'm checking Twitter notifications because I'm making this video wondering if he's going to sign. I've done this before during a player signing. But getting back on track, we were all, I would say for the most part, pretty excited. He said he was healthy. He was coming into this year, this past season, as healthy as he's ever been in the past couple of years, which was a good sign. He's 32 years old, so, it's not an old age by any means, but in hockey, that's when you're starting to turn the corner of you're either good or you're not. You're either Jason Spezza or you're not. And honestly, the Leafs needed some toughness. And Wayne came in here at a $1.5 million contract, and I was like, okay, his last deal was $5 million. He's taking a substantial pay cut because he's not that $5 million player anymore that he signed with Jersey. He's just not that player anymore, and he's definitely not the guy that played in Philly. He wasn't the same Wayne Simmonds, but he was still tough, and he could still contribute a little bit. So when he came in at that number at the beginning of the season, fighting, he had a few goals. He looked good on the power play. I was like, damn, okay, Wayne Simmonds wasn't lying. He looks real good. And then the injury. And that kind of took him out. And this is where this could be beneficial for the Toronto Maple Leafs, because Kyle Dubas needs to sit down and be like, look, Wayne, we turned down Corey Perry for you, essentially, okay? Corey Perry looks amazing. And after your injury, you did not. A lot of teams might take a flyer on you, no pun intended, but you're not going to be getting these $2+ $1+ million contracts. It's going to have to be under $1 million. And if it's over $1 million, then to me that's a failure. The Leafs cannot sign Wayne Simmonds to more than $1 million. I think it's got to be $900,000. Some people are asking for the Spezza contract, which, I mean, if he does that, that's fantastic. But at $900K, I would be 100% fine with that. But let's just quickly take a look at these numbers, okay? He's got the size. He's a big guy, but he has like the slim build, which is obviously pretty good. So he's still quick out there. He's not too slow at 32 years old. In the playoffs this year, he only had 1 point. This past season, he only had 9 points in 38 games played, but I believe 5 of those goals came right before the injury. So that injury really took him out. So just looking at some of his numbers here, if he can even contribute 24 points or 30 points, I mean, that would be just incredible. And you'd love for him to play closer to 70+ games. If he can give you similar to Jason Spezza numbers, you're laughing. It's money in the bank, especially if you do get him at that $900,000 price point. But he was a guy that fought. He won his fights. He did pretty well. And Leaf fans, we can't sit here and be like, oh, well, Wayne Simmonds just sucked all year. At the beginning of the season, he was really good. You cannot deny that. Simmonds was actually a factor on this Leafs team, but now he's going to be depth. And the Leafs can't sign any more veterans, so we'll get to that in a second. But his last deal had a no-trade clause with Toronto at a $1.5 million cap hit. Of course, that no-trade clause is just because, some players, when they decide to come to a team, Simmonds is from around here, so it's like, I don't think he wanted to go anywhere else, and he doesn't want to get shuffled around. I can't blame these guys. They don't want to get shuffled around, especially with what's going on in the world right now. But it's going to be under $1 million. It has to be. And if it's not, like I said, it's a failure of a contract, in my opinion. Now, moving over to cap friendly, let's just say this is what the Leafs look like. Okay, now you're going to see that there's 5 centermen here. I would imagine, like we're all predicting, that Kerfoot's going to get taken by Seattle. I'm just putting him there so that way the cap space goes up. So with signing Simmonds, though, you can't keep, and I've seen tweets like this, and it was my exact thought, you can't keep Mikheyev and you can't keep Engvall on this team. You can't keep both of them here if you've got Simmonds. That's too much. So I like the idea of tossing him down in the minors. Now, can you see $125,000 is the only money that the Leafs would have against their cap with him in the minors. He could get claimed and then all that money would be gone, which is a possibility. But if not, he's depth. And the Leafs have $13 million to get a couple forwards on the left side and to get somebody on the right side. I have brought Nick Robertson up because it's pretty much a guarantee that he battles for a spot and he will get a spot. The Leafs need the cheap contract, and I still think Nick Robertson has the potential to be a 15-goal guy. I know some people think I'm ridiculous for that, but I really do think this guy could be an impact player. I've also brought up Timothy Liljegren and Rasmus Sandin as mainstays here. With this $13 million, I guarantee you the Leafs are going to try to hold on to Zach Bogosian, so you can factor him in here as well. The Leafs might look to upgrade on Justin Hall. Who knows? We'll have to see. And then, of course, they would need a backup goaltender. So that's a lot of money to be able to do something there. Could the Leafs re-sign Zach Hyman and add to this depth? They could, but they could also use this money and try to acquire some more talent towards the top of the lineup as well. So they have options. They would have the money to be able to make some deals happen here. But of course, you're losing Hyman, you're losing Freddie Anderson, but you've got Campbell there. And what I wanted to get back to was looking at this roster. You cannot sign any more veteran players. Now, Jason Spezza is a little different, and you're hoping that, I'm going to knock on wood, you're hoping that he's still going to produce like he did last season. The guy doesn't look like he ages, and they're going to have to try him on the third line, right? And by the way, those lines that you guys seen there, that's not my lineup. I'm just saying that's just for money purposes what it would look like. Also, I had Adam Brooks in there. Quickly, we'll go back to it. I had Adam Brooks there on the fourth line. Again, the Leafs can make these upgrades. They also have that guy that they signed out of the KHL. I always mispronounce his name, so I'm not even going to attempt it. I wonder if he's on here. Kirill Semyonov. So he could also be an option. He's a little bit more expensive at $800K or $825, I think it was. Yeah, $825. So there's another option there the Leafs could see if he would work. But anyways, the Leafs can't sign Joe Thornton. They're not going to, and I hope they don't. Hopefully he just stays as some sort of office role, but there's no way. The guy's going to want to try to play at least one more year. Who knows? Maybe he ends up back in San Jose. Maybe he goes back to Boston. Who knows? But Joe Thornton is not going to be a Toronto Maple Leaf, and if he is, then I'm not really sure what they're doing, to be honest with you. But that's the reason why I sent Engvall down as well. The Leafs can't go all in on this philosophy of like, oh, now we're a big, tough team. I'm not saying that's the reason why the Leafs lost. They clearly were not the boogeyman in the playoffs. They weren't a scary team. But throughout the regular season, they weren't a soft team either. They were a little more physical than they have been before with guys like Simmonds, even Thornton getting in people's grill, pushing people over. You had Bogosian in there. You seen guys like, Engvall get a little bit more chippy. Muzzin obviously is a chippier guy. Dermott and Hall are not soft by any means. So there was a little bit more team toughness. But the Toronto Maple Leafs are built to be a skill team. So if Dubas is going to live and die by his sword, the Leafs are going to go all in on skill and fast pace this year. And the reason why you bring back Wayne Simmonds is to still be like, okay, we've got a guy that can fight. You bring back Bogosian for a little bit of that toughness still on that back end with Jake Muzzin. So you still have those added elements. But you cannot go out there and sign more veteran guys that are in their late 30s or early 30s for that matter that can't score and can't play at a high pace. Spezza's different. Simmonds is the enforcer. That's it. That's all you can do with veterans. That's it, in my opinion. You can't go any further than that. Okay, my light just died on me, but the video is pretty much over. I apologize for the dark background. My blue light just decided to die. And you know what's funny is it was right when I was saying do not sign any more veteran contracts. So maybe that was not a good sign. that was not a good sign. I really hope that they don't sign anybody else. Okay, my Twitter is going off again. Okay, good. Okay, it's not a signing. I'm gonna upload this before the signing breaks. And you know what's funny? It probably will break the second I upload the video. So if you are new, make sure to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And I do love and appreciate you guys as always. Peace.